Okay, so first of all, it's cold outside. Okay, the sun has gone down. It's like 50, hold up, 56. It's cold. My heater's been turning on. There's people blasting their music outside at the pool, having a whole little party, like a little cookout. Why don't you all go home? Anyways, yeah, it's too cold for that. And now Zazia wants to play. Hi, buddy. Hi. Anyways, so it's kind of loud. Obviously, you can't hear it, but it's irritating me. Was that screaming? Okay, yeah, it's just unnecessary. So I know I'm not trading right now, but I actually wanted some time to go over um, something important, um, and I'm not doing that tomorrow. Like tomorrow is about it's work, it's following the process, it's just work. And so I don't want to be in the wrong headspace tomorrow by talking about this tomorrow. So talking about it tonight, it's not going to be, it might take a while, but it's not it's not going to be super long. So hold on. Razia was squeaking a squeaky toy. Baba. Uh-uh. Okay. I had to play with him for a second and then I kicked him out. Anyways, if he starts scratching on the door, I'll let him back in. Okay, so here's what I wanted to talk about, just jumping right into it. Um, yeah, so my whole trading journey it's been pretty bumpy. It has. But there's something and let me just be candid, okay? Every time that I stepped into trading, I treated it as a couple of things, right? If I won, I would treat it like I had passed some spiritual test or I had done something right and I was being rewarded, by God. And if I lost, I treated it as if it was some spiritual test that maybe I failed or it was the enemy trying to mess with my head. And yeah, I mean that's the way I've been going about trading, as if it's this ah goodness, as if it's this, you know, wins and losses. Yes, I mean, God does control ultimately outcomes, but the truth of the matter is, if you don't do the work, how can you expect God to just fill in the blanks where you did nothing? Um, and so every time I sat down, I treated it as if all I had to do was have faith that, everything would work out, and it would. And so whenever I lost, I would be like, well, maybe I'm not walking in my purpose, or maybe, maybe it was a lesson, or maybe I'm not ready spiritually. But the reality is, I had half baked strategies, right? I wasn't looking for A plus setups. I wasn't looking for the the right setups. I was looking for I was looking for like a quick anything, right? oh, a brick flips, then you enter. And that was basically my strategy the entire time. And the problem with that, and really the problem with that, is I never focused on the process. I just focused on the outcome, and I outsourced the outcome to God. And so if I was losing, it was because God didn't want me to win. And so it turned it into this whole thing that it really never should have been. And the problem, and the problem was losses weren't just, oh, that was just a loss. It turned into some, moral quandary. Remember the last account that I had that I lost? What happened? I stopped trading for a while and I was just like, I feel let down. These are my words. Oh, I feel let down and disappointed. I traded this for a whole month perfectly, and then in 1, 2 days, it's gone. And it could have gone either way. It could have gone either way, but it's like I was outsourcing, responsibility for my trades. I was outsourcing that to God and being like, well, if it lost 3 times in a row, you know, and I said all of this to ChatGPT, and it said something very, I liked it. It was like, I'm gonna try to read it actually, but because I don't want to mess it up, whatever it said. Let's see. Um, so let me just read exactly what ChatGPT said, based on like what I said. So, because also I was talking about, I don't want to continue. I mean, I do want to continue trading, obviously. I don't want to continue trading with this mindset of, oh, I can't bring God into it. I want, like, kind of like this, when I start my day at work at my job, I say, oh, I can ask the Lord to like bless my day, bless, whatever comes my way. But at the end of the day, it's just a job, right? If I have a bad day at work, after asking God to bless my day, does it end my world? No, because it's just a job. And so I should have been doing that with trading, but instead I was making it about, oh, if my trading day was bad, that means God's testing me, punishing me, whatever. And it was always something. And so I could never just accept a loss as a loss. It was always something spiritual. And really, I just wasn't doing all of the work that I needed to be doing. Um, so let me just read this paragraph, the several paragraphs the chat wrote. So it says, first of all, this is very self-aware realization, blah blah blah. Okay. Um, okay. What you were doing before wasn't faith, it was spiritual bypassing. And what you're afraid of now is overcorrecting into self reliance that quietly cuts God out, right? Both are real traps. And that's exactly what it is. It's like, I don't want to spiritually bypass, how some people say, oh, let go and let God. Yes. But then there are a lot of people say that to offload responsibility. They'll say, let go and let God without doing the work. Like, oh, whatever God wants to happen, if God wants me to get this job, I'll get the job. I'm like, did you prepare for the interview? Did you get all of your references together? Did you do anything? Or are you just gonna pretend like you don't have to do anything and just let go and let God work? Like, no. So let's go into point number one. So the Bible does not support hands off faith. Okay, and there's going to be Bible verses throughout. So it says, there's a verse that fits your seed analogy almost uncomfortably well. So I gave a seed analogy. I said, basically, um, I come into trading and I treat it like, where's my mantra right here? It says, um, you know, till the ground, plant the seeds, right? You have to do the work. You can't expect God to bring a harvest if you didn't do any of the preparation for the harvest, right? If you didn't even bother to till the ground, plant the seeds, measure the depth, water it, and then be like, oh, where's my harvest, God? If you didn't do any of that work, let's say you took some seeds, you walked out onto the rough, rugged ground that wasn't prepared, and then you just tossed the seeds on the ground and then didn't water them, didn't make sure they were buried or anything. But then you want to complain to God and say, well, why? Where's the harvest? What harvest? You didn't do anything to earn a harvest, okay? So, not that God can't bless you if you didn't do something, but like, how are you gonna, bypass all of the work and just skip right to the blessing? Like, no. So, Proverbs 20, verse 4 says, and since it's Sunday, this is a good day for this. Proverbs 20, verse 4, it says, the lazy farmer will not plant in season, so at harvest time there will be no crop. Exactly. If you're lazy and you don't plant when you're supposed to, then guess what? At the time that there could have been a harvest, there won't be a harvest for you because you didn't actually do what you were supposed to. And with trading, I was not planting, I wasn't working, I wasn't building. I was kind of mm, half doing half baked work, and I was expecting, this whole thing to just come together, but I wasn't doing all of the work that I needed to be doing. Um, and so God's very clear here, no planting, no harvest. That's not a spiritual test, it's a consequence, right? My strategy had 77% over 126 trades, was it? 77%. And when you look at the equity curve, it basically stayed flat. Like there was, I guess, a lucky few good days that boosted the numbers, but then it stayed flat and it never went anywhere because it wasn't really profitable. And so, um, that's a consequence of not really going down into the weeds, right? I took a half-baked strategy and expected this whole harvest to come. And it's like, no, that's not a spiritual test that I failed. I just didn't do the work, and this is the consequence, right? Okay, another one. Proverbs 18, verse 9. Whoever is slack in his work is brother to him who destroys, which means basically negligence isn't neutral, it actively harms outcomes. If you're negligent, right, it's not the same as, oh, you just stood by. No, you basically, you may as well just sabotage yourself. That's what it's saying. You basically just take a hammer and smash it at this point, because doing nothing is the same as just destroying it. Being negligent is the same um, as destroying, or being lazy is the same as, may as well just destroy it yourself. You don't bother to plant. Why don't you just take a crop and torch everything? Because that's effectively what you're doing. And that's what I was doing. Was I was being lazy, slack. I was just picking up a couple things that looked good without doing any research or deeper diving or digging or anything. And then I, yeah, sabotaged myself. I may as well have just said, I don't want to win. And then this last one, James 2, verse 17, faith by itself is not accompanied. Wait, faith by itself, if not accompanied by action, is dead. I can have all the faith in the world that, oh, I want to be a successful trader and God has this for me, blah, blah, blah. But if I don't actually, and really, if I don't, sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, um, if, if I don't actually do anything about it, it means nothing, right? I can have all the faith in the world that, God has meant trading for me and that everything's gonna work out. I can believe and believe and believe. But the reality is, right? The reality is I can believe and believe and believe something, But if I don't actually do the work, like sit down and, take the notes, take all of the long, grueling notes and work on a Saturday and sit down every day and work through the losses and work through the wins and work through the strategy and test and really narrow out those A plus setups, right? If I am not doing that, okay, then I can have all the faith that I want that, oh, the faith that it's all going to work out. But if I don't do anything, if I don't take responsibility, then all that faith doesn't really mean anything. It's just, it doesn't really mean anything. Um, okay, so, oh, and then this is the part where, um, Chat GPT really hit hit the nail on the head, or was that the term? This is where they sealed it. They said, so biblically speaking, what you thought was faith before, scripture actually calls it incomplete. What I was doing was incomplete. I was having the faith. I was sitting down like, okay, God, I'm ready. But I actually never got myself ready. And that was the problem. And then the one liner, God was never asking you to turn trading into a spiritual casino. And that's basically what I was doing. Is I was coming in like, okay, God, I'm ready. And I was sitting down at the table or sitting down at my desk, and I was rolling the dice and hoping that God made the dice land in my favor. That's what I was doing. And yes, I had my strategy, blah, 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 blah. But did I? Did I? It wasn't a complete strategy. It was a half-formed strategy based off of, oh, this looked good. Let's just try that for a week, you know? Um, yeah. So it was a half-baked strategy. There was no market structure behind it. It was literally this color turned this color and that color matched this color and this was above this line, so I'm entering. What? If your trading was that easy, everybody would be rich, and that's the facts and that's the truth. And some people say, "Oh, it is that easy." Again, it's not meant to be easy like, "Oh, a baby could do it." Um, yeah, because if it was about matching colors, everybody would be matching colors and making millions. And I wanted it to be that easy, right? I didn't want to have to sit down. Let me pull up the notes again. I didn't want to have to sit down and measure things and compare things and make I don't have my spreadsheets right now, and make spreadsheets and do all of this stuff. That I didn't want to be doing that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But that's where we are today. Actual work, actual grind, not just popping in, sitting down and being like, well, because at that point, and I remember I even thought of doing this too. I was like, at this point, if trading is completely in God's hands, I could literally flip a coin and still win. And it's not a coin toss, okay? But that's how I was treating it, was basically like, it doesn't matter what I do, it's in God's hands. Therefore, I'm going to do the bare minimum, right? Do the bare minimum, and God will fill in the rest. That's how I was treating it. Um, yeah, that's how I was treating it. Okay, so point number two, God's role is sovereignty, not micromanaging your P&L. Here's a distinction that untangles this. Your responsibility, preparation, execution, discipline. That's my responsibility. Preparation, execution, discipline. God's responsibility, outcomes you cannot control. There's things that I can't control, right? But I'm supposed to prepare, execute, and show discipline. That's what I'm supposed to do. I can't control whether or not the market decides it doesn't want to respect a level. That's not something I can control, okay? But if the market decides not to respect a level, it's not some some moral dilemma. It isn't. It's not a moral dilemma or a spiritual dilemma or a God didn't want me to win that time. It's okay. He was probably just testing me to see if I still stick with it. Because that's what I told myself a lot. God's just trying to see if I'm still going to stick with it. That's why I keep losing so much. Or how about I had a half-baked strategy. That's why I keep losing so much. But no, I didn't want to believe that. Okay, and that brings up Proverbs 21:5 that says, "The plans of the diligent surely lead surely to abundance. Not the plans of the prayerful who skip the work, not the plans of the faithful who don't refine their edge. Diligence comes first." So again, that's Proverbs 21:5. The plans of the diligent surely lead to abundance, or leads surely to abundance. Um, and that's the thing, right? It's not, you don't just sit there and pray your way to success. You don't just sit there and be faithful when you don't even but do the work to refine the edge or anything. And that's what I was doing. I was coming in prayerful, would read the Bible, do my devotions at night and stuff, and pray, turn on some Christian music to calm me, and then I'd be like, okay, do your thing, God. I'm just here to press the button. And then if I lost, it was like, oh, it was a test. hmm Um, yeah, but God comes in after the work is done, not instead of the work is done, right? God comes in with the abundance after you did the work. He doesn't come in and be like, oh, all right, I see you lounging in the shade. Here you go. You know, here's your reward. Oh, I see you didn't actually finish planting. I see you didn't do anything actually, but here you go. Here's your reward. No, why would you get rewarded for just laying back and doing absolutely nothing? Think of a kid. If you tell your child, "Hey, you need to clean your room," and then they're like, "Okay," and then they go upstairs and then they just don't clean their room. Like they're just literally sitting in their messy room, like, I want to clean my room. And they're just lounging. Do you say, "Oh, good job, okay, you can come and have dessert now"? No. The consequence is you're going to stay there until you clean your room. And I've been sitting in my messy trading room, and God's like, "Okay, you need to clean this up. If you want the reward, you got to clean up your act." And I'm like, "Cool." And then I just sit in my messy room and I'm like, "Well, I'm in the room, so this counts for something, right?" No, you didn't do any of the work. Okay. Um anyways, yeah, it says, and then this one liner says, "The Bible never asks you to spiritualize normal cause and effect," right? There's normal cause and effect. Sometimes a trade just doesn't go. Sometimes it just doesn't. Normal cause and effect. Totally normal cause and effect. But here's the thing. Here's the thing is that, what was I saying? I don't remember. Anyways, but yeah, there's totally normal cause and effect. And the thing about that um is that it's not about, there's not everything is a spiritual battleground, okay? There's a lot of people in the market doing a lot of things in corporations, and nobody's specifically targeting me, okay? The enemy's not all like, "Oh, Lizzie's in the market now, so I'm gonna manipulate, these tens of thousands of people that are trading. I'm gonna make it all so that she loses specifically." I'm not so special that I'm the target of this major attack, but I was treating it like I was. I was treating my trading like I'm on some important mission from God. Therefore, anytime I lose, it's a targeted attack against me. How arrogant. And I'm saying this because I'm being honest. Like, I was lying awake at night thinking about this. Okay. Well, maybe not lying awake, but like before I went to bed, I was thinking about this. So Number three. So this is what ChatGPT says, but whatever. Okay, so it says the clean way to keep God in it without twisting it. The key shift, what not to bring God into. Individual trades, daily P&L, win, loss, interpretation. Should I take this setup questions? That's where things get distorted. Exactly. Right? Every time I took an individual trade, this exact thing would happen, right? I would take a trade and be like, first of all, I'd be like, okay, should I take this trade? God, oh, something's telling me I should take this. Okay, I'm gonna take it. Oh, it's winning. Oh, this is good. God thinks I'm worthy of a win. Oh, it's losing. Oh, it's just the enemy. It's just the enemy. Don't panic, Lizzie. And then daily P&L, I'll be like, okay, my P&L, okay, it's fine, it's just trying to test my patience. By the way, we're having a lot of volume today. We started very low upon open, and then we've been slowly increasing. We were up to like 7,000. Anyways, I was just noting the volume. Okay, back to what I was saying. So um what so those are things not to bring God into, the individual trades and the losses and the P&L. Honestly, I try not to even look at my P&L. I don't know what it is. Actually, I don't even know what the number is. I think it's four something, but I don't know because I don't stare at my P&L, because that's the first problem I have. But also, win and loss interpretation. When I lose, it's not because, oh, God wanted me to lose. He was testing me in this moment. No, actually, no. You know, if you actually did the work, if I actually do the work and sit down, then some things are just it wasn't the day. Other things happened outside of my control. And that's just it. There is no special secret meaning, code, whatever that's happening. Okay, so aside from that, what do I bring God into? And this is where we gotta focus. Character, discipline, your honesty, your stewardship, your consistency, right? Um, my consistency. Am I showing up every day? Am I being a good steward? You know, oh, pups at the door, 1 second. And then honesty, right? Am I being honest with myself? Am I being disciplined? And what does it look like from my character as well? 1 second. Okay, pup is here with me. He was outside crying. He wanted to come in, and then he wanted to bite me. He wanted to chew on me, and I'm not a chew toy, pup. Okay. So the biblical framing. So Colossians 3:23 says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. And I have this same verse on my faith versus fear little poster that I have. And it's just the same. Well, it's a summarized version. It says, whatever I do, do as if I am doing it for the Lord. Um, and then my writing got messy. Working in something, and then it says people. I honestly have no idea what I said because I have horrible handwriting. But yeah, I wrote this same verse down. I wrote this board probably a year, probably going on a year ago. I wrote this board about a year ago in like a month or two. So yeah, whatever I do, do as unto the Lord. And sometimes when I first started this other job, would I would say the same thing, because the job was stressing me out, and I'd be like, just work as if you're working unto the Lord. And sometimes I still have to remind myself of that, because sometimes I'd rather be taking a nap. I'd rather be doing a lot of other things, but when I work, I really try to, and I should be better at it, but I really do try to, you know, imagine that I'm just working unto the Lord, right? Like, I don't care about the people. I'm working to make, um, not to make them happy with me, but to make God happy with me. Like, if God told me to do the same thing that they were saying to do, would I be giving the same amount of effort? And if the answer is no, well, then that's a problem. Like, if God said, hey, let's say you work at McDonald's and God said, hey, I need this order, would you be slacking, taking your sweet time? Probably not. So why do you, is that a fly, Bubba? He sees the fly. No, there it is. Go get it. Let's go get it. Okay, it flew away. Now it's coming back. Right? So I try to use that that mindset for any job. It's not just about trading, but just that's a life advice right there. If you if if yeah, it was that little fly came back. Okay, if I used the same work ethic, right? If God said, okay, Lizzie, I want you to trade, I want you to day trade, would I really be coming in, not studying up, not learning from my mistakes, flipping a coin and basically being like, whatever happens, happens, not on me, whatever. No. So why was I treating it like that? Um, and then also, ChatGPT said, notice what the verse does not say. It does not say God guarantees results. It does not say effort equals profit. It does not say losses mean disobedience. It says excellence is the offering, not the outcome. So trading becomes I honor God by showing up prepared, executing my plan, managing risk, and telling the truth about my results. That's it. Full stop. Exactly, right? Like, and that's not just about trading, it's about life, right? Are we honoring God, and am I honoring God by showing up prepared, executing my plan, and doing what I'm supposed to, right? Because if I show up to work, my if I show up to work and first I show up late, I'm not prepared for the meeting that I have because I got meetings, let's say I'm not prepared for my meetings. I am, all frazzled and dazzled. Okay. Um, yeah, if that's how I show up to work, right, is that honoring to God, right? By showing up unprepared, late, half not doing all of the work I'm supposed to get done. And how is that honoring God? It's not. So if I show up to trading, you know, couldn't be bothered to check market levels and check the news, and I just want to look at some colors and go, how is that honoring to God? Like, really, how is that honoring to God? So yeah, um now number 4, instead of saying, God, please let this trade win, which is what I was doing, maybe not saying it out loud, but I was doing that. I was like, oh, please let this trade win. Instead of saying, God, please let this trade win, you know, uh, ChatGPT says, try, God, help me execute my rules without fear, ego, or impulse. Ego is another problem too. You start seeing some green, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm just admitting these problems that I have because I do have them. And yeah, I don't want to start the week off, thinking, I'm doing so good. I'm gonna be debt free soon. I don't want to start thinking like I'm all that in a bag of chips. And I also don't want to be afraid. And I also, you know, I don't want to be greedy. I don't want to be any of those things. So, um, and then this one is important. Instead of what are you trying to teach me through losses, try show me where I broke process or help me accept variance with humility. Exactly. A lot of things are variance, right? There's variance, or maybe I didn't follow. Like last Monday, I didn't follow the process. I decided to jump in because I was getting a little excited, and I decided to just jump right in. And guess what? Pop, you stay over there. Um, yeah, I decided to just jump right in and I lost, right? So I also need help accepting the variance with humility, not saying, oh, I lost because everybody's out to get me, but like, hey, stuff happens. Like, be humble about losses and be humble about wins, okay? Like, be humble in all of it. And even if I missed the trade and didn't take anything, stay humble. Um, And then also this one, instead of if I lose, maybe I wasn't supposed to trade today. Instead, if I traded according to plan, let me rest in that. If I trade according to plan, that's all I need to be doing is just staying on trade the plan, and everything else is, you know, wins are the cherry on top, but following the plan, that's the real win. But when I'm changing it up constantly, that's where the issues start happening. Okay, so it says that keeps faith anchored to integrity, not to outcomes. Exactly. My faith was anchored in the outcome, not in in the integrity of how I was acting, right? Um, because so basically this instead of like let's say you have a bad day at work but you come home anyway and you're like I have faith that God's got me and it's okay, it's gonna be a good day tomorrow, and then you go to work the next day. But you see, with for me with training, it was like I was saying, oh, I have faith that I'm gonna have a good day, and then I'll say I have a bad day. Instead of coming home and being like, it's cool, God's got me, I will do it again then tomorrow. Instead, I was like, I had faith in you and you let me down. You let me down. It was a terrible day, just so you know. Yeah. And it feels like you're just testing me, you're pushing me. Maybe there's something I'm missing, you know? Um, and then, a bad day would send me into a spiral of, does God really love me at all? Like my faith was highly dependent on the outcome. It was very big problematic, very problematic. Okay, so this one, this one verse might be your anchor. Okay, so it says, if you want a single verse that perfectly balances faith and responsibility, Proverbs 16:3. Well, that was a big spike that just happened. I'm kind of watching the market, but not, but also I am. Um, I wonder if there's Asia level pre-market because this is a lot of volume. Like if you notice, as we come up, we just keep increasing and increasing volume. We're up at 9,000, 9.5 thousand in that spike. Right there. Good stuff, good stuff. Anyways, moving on. I just like to continue watching it while I'm here, so we're not just staring at a blank screen. But yes, Proverbs 16:3, it says, commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. And I have Proverbs 16. Hold up. I have this verse. Yeah, I have Proverbs 16:9, which says, a man or a person um, plans their ways, but the Lord establishes your steps. I have that on a tattoo. I had to look at the tattoo and be like, what verse was that? It was 16:9. Also was in Roman numerals, and I was like, How do you read Roman numerals again? Anyways, so yeah, commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. Um, and guess what? Also, the Lord will direct your steps too. He will direct your steps and He will, you know, yeah, He will direct your steps. But yeah, commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. Notice the order: work, commit, then stability follows. Not profit, not constant green days, stability. That's trading. Trading is all about you want to become stable, right? You really, it's about stability, right? Because if I'm haphazardly trading constantly, how am I supposed to do this consistently? Get to a point where I can leave my day job and do this if I haphazardly trade constantly where, one red day, sends me into a tailspin. I can't trade like that, right? The stability is in the work, committing it to the Lord, and then and just repeating that daily, right? Like I said, and this is my mantra right here. It says, I'm not proving anything, I'm not escaping anything. Till the ground, plant the seeds. This is just work. Follow the process, walk away. If I treat trading like it's just work and I'm working diligently, then having a bad day at work isn't going to ruin my life. And I was really treating it like it was. I was treating it like a bad day was just, it was, the tip of the iceberg. And my whole life was just, going to a tailspin. Like I'd start the morning, if I started the morning with a red day, my day, the rest of my day and probably week would be terrible. I don't want to live like that, I don't. Okay, six, and I think we're almost done. Yep, okay. The season you're in right now is actually biblical growth. What you're experiencing is discernment, not drift. You're learning the difference between trusting God and outsourcing responsibility. Exactly. There's a difference between trusting God that something's going to work out and then outsourcing the responsibility and not actually doing your part. Because the truth of the matter is interesting. The truth of the matter is that, you know, if you don't do the work and then you expect to be rewarded, that's the problem. And you can trust God for the outcome, but if you don't do the work, then you may as well just what did that other verse say? Um, where is it? Where is it? Hmm. Yeah, whoever is slack in his work is brother to him to destroys. If you're not even gonna bother to do the work, you're already sabotaging yourself. You know, there's opportunities that come along, and if you don't do the work, you may as well just say you don't want it at all, right? So, ba, 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 outsourcing responsibility, and that's what I was doing. Um, and I was calling it trust. Oh, I'm trusting God in the outcome, but I wasn't even working. So, yeah, or I thought I was, but I was doing the bare minimum. Okay. So now let's go to this one. Okay. God is not threatened by you studying harder, systematizing, removing emotional interpretations, treating trading like a craft. In fact, scripture consistently honors people who do exactly that. Blah blah blah. Working hard, but there's a fine line, right? There's a fine line, and I think I was in one extreme and another extreme, and so I'm having a hard time settling in the middle. Um, because the first extreme, okay, which was what I was doing, was outsourcing the responsibility, treating it like it was some spiritual casino of, oh, trust God and the money will follow. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do a thing. Flip a coin, enter, it doesn't matter because God's in control. Like, because literally my mindset was flip. I could literally enter right here, flip a coin, Heads, I go long, tails, I go short. And then if I was in profit, that was up to God, not me. You see, trading is random. I treated trading like it was completely random, and I could have flipped a coin, and therefore it's all on God if I lose or win. That's how I treated trading. That was the first extreme. I also treated trading back in the day as if, you know, I didn't include God at all, actually. And if I won, I was like, "Oh, I'm so good. I'm so amazing. I'm a hot shot." And then if I lost, I was like, "I'm a failure." Blah blah blah. Like, so I've been on both sides of the extremes of thinking that trading is all me, and thinking that trading is all me and I'm all that in a bag of chips. And then also on the flip side, thinking that um yeah, and then on the flip side, I'm over here thinking, oh, trading is all God and it has nothing to do with me. I just have to press a button, you know? And then now I'm in the middle where I'm like, oh, I actually need to do some work. I can't just sit here and expect to be um sit here and expect for the blessings to follow if I didn't go and I didn't till the ground, I didn't plant the seeds, I didn't water, I didn't go out every day, I didn't pick the weeds, but now I want the harvest. What? No, I need to go work. But now I'm like, okay, I'm actually working, but now I want God to be part of it, but I don't want God to be part of it in the wrong way where I stop working, but I also don't want to leave God out of it and then start thinking that I'm all that again because I've done that too much. So that's what I was thinking last night. And that's what I really want to work on because I don't want, wow, has it been 46 minutes? I don't want, okay, according to this, it's been 47. I don't want um to, like I said, and I said this and I meant it too. I said this and I meant it, and that is this. Hold on, I'm thinking. I lost my train of thought. Oh yes. I've said this and I've always said this, but it's so true, I do not want um I don't want to live a life where God's not the center, where God's not at the center. I've done that. I have 10,000 crazy. But yeah, I've done that where, God just was not at the forefront of anything that I was doing. And I don't want to live a life like that. I don't want to live a life where I'm just going through the motions. Cause like I said, I've been there. I've done that. Um, and when it's all said and done, it's pretty lonely at the end. Um, so yeah, no, goodness. So no, I don't want to live a life where God's not at the center, but I also don't want to live a life where I am just spiritually lazy. I don't want to become prideful, but I also don't want to become lazy. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to be lazy and not do any work, but I don't want to work so, I don't want to make it all about my work, my effort, and therefore become prideful in that, you know? So, So yeah, that's that's what trying to say, you know. But yeah, um, so well, so going into tomorrow, same process, same rules, nothing's changed, you know. Absolutely nothing has changed, um, but no, yeah, look at this. If you went here, previous day high, but previous day high came back inside. Yeah, Lizzie, you're like, I could come up with a night trading routine. No, I want to, but no. Previous day high, break of previous day high. I like these breaks of highs and lows. Anyways, that's all I had to say really um was that um so yeah, you know, whoa. Uh-huh. But yeah, I just I don't want right now I'm in the middle and I'm like I don't want to go the wrong way again, you know. I don't want to go to the side of laziness and be like not up to me, it's up to God. I can't do anything, bye. But I don't want to be the opposite where I'm just like this is all me and my hard work and I built my success all on my own. I don't want to be like that because all my life I have worked hard and you know I'm in a good spot, but I tend to look at that as I'm I'm in a good spot because I did good or I did right, and it's like you might have worked but you're where you are because God has allowed you to be there, and there's like um, two sides to it, you know, and it's easy to go to the one side and say I worked for everything I have, you know, but then it's also easy to be like, well, you know, yeah, I didn't do anything in life, just you know, I'm where I am because of God, you know, but then you didn't do anything. So I don't want to be like my old self. I don't want to be that person who says I'm here because of me or I lost because of God or I won because of me or I won because of God or luck and no. So, gonna be an interesting week. I don't know how it's gonna go. Um, yeah, I don't. I have no idea how it's gonna go, but I will not be well. I just don't wanna. I don't wanna mess things up. And when I say mess things up, I'm not talking about money and profits. I'm talking about I don't want to come in tomorrow and say, this is all you, Lizzie, you did this. And I don't want to come in tomorrow and be like, I don't have to try because this is all on God anyways, you know? I don't want to be either of those things. Anyways, I think I've been rambling for quite some time and it's going on 7. I need to take a shower, get ready for bed and all that because yeah, we gotta start a new week tomorrow and it's jeez, I need to go close the door. Okay, yeah, but yeah, tomorrow's the start of a new week and I'm excited. Whoa, 12,000 tons of people in the market. Tons and tons. But anyways, ever since I heard about trading, what drew me to it first, not gonna lie, it was the money. I was like, oh, you could make thousands. But then when I actually got on the charts, I realized I just love looking at the charts and the numbers and the data. I've always been a numbers kid. I always loved math. I was an algebra, trigonometry, calculus. Was there something else? Yeah, I loved math. I couldn't tell you what's what now. I have no idea. But I loved math and formulas because there was always an answer to whatever the problem was. Really, every math problem had a solution. Um, and so I think I liked that. I think I liked formulas and numbers, and I liked the process. Like whenever you solve a math problem, there's a specific number of steps that you come to. And if you make a mistake along the way, it can change the complete outcome of the answer. You get the wrong answer because you made a mistake way back here. But if you go back and you're careful, you can find that mistake and fix the problem. And I think I always liked solving something. Also cars. I've always loved cars, engines, fixing things. I always, whenever a car broke down, because my dad loved buying junk cars, because he liked to fix them up, I was right there fixing them. I remember, I think I changed it was like an overhead um I think it wasn't it was like the intake manifold. I think it was the intake manifold, and like you have to take like you're not taking apart the engine block, but you're taking apart the manifold that's like putting the air in the engine. Anyways, I replaced that on a car. Like I've done so many car repairs, but the reason why I like car repairs is because if there's a problem, i.e., your car won't start, there's a solution to the problem. There's specific number of things that have to be working so your car can start. And if those things aren't working, and your car is not starting, and so it's like you have to diagnose the problem, right? I like diagnosing problems, and sometimes that trickles into my personal life. I like to psychoanalyze everything and everyone, including myself. I psychoanalyze myself. So it's not just I do it to other people, but like I do it to myself too. I like to solve a problem. I'm like, why did that person say that? And then I start, I could write an essay. I could tell Chat GPT to write me an essay, right? Because I love to solve and think and puzzles and all of that. I just do. I really do. With my job, um, not so much now, but before I would write like legal arguments on why things were this way, and so I'd actually have paragraphs that I would write pre-Chat GPT. I would type up my own paragraphs, explaining how this law applies to this case, um and that's really what I loved and what I enjoyed so much was um I just enjoyed the um you know, here's the problem, here's the case, we have to find a solution with the law. And I love looking for those answers within, legal guides and tax precedents and whatnot. And yeah, I've always loved that. Um, yeah. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. And I think that's why I've been trading for so long, right? Because at first it was the money. I was like, oh, I can make a lot of money. But then it became about, wait, actually, I really like looking at the charts and looking at patterns and taking all these notes. Like you might think I don't, but like I actually enjoy coming in and writing notes. The notes only got sparse near the end because I had taken better notes the last couple of days. I had more notes on the chart, whereas these days I didn't have very many notes on the chart, so that's why these days are longer. I didn't just start doing short notes because I got tired of writing. But anyways, my point is that I love doing this. I just love everything about it, and um And yeah, that's why I keep doing it. That's why I keep doing it. So that's gonna be it for me. I will be back. When will I be? I'll be back tomorrow. So gonna, what is this? Almost 7? Yeah, it's almost 7. Gonna take a shower and just wind down, get ready for bed. Um, 'Cause it's been a long day. So